Does everyone see my presentation or something? Or and can you hear my
Kita naman po,
audio?
sir. Yes po.
Okay, okay, great. So before I start my presentation, I hope that everyone already ate their dinner and drink some coffee because it's gonna be kind of short, but I'll be tackling some topics. Medyo mahaba siya. So yeah. So introducing myself, my name is Peter Joshua Prion. So I'm actually one of the SMEs here in GDS-CPUP, particularly on cybersecurity department, and also acting as their mentor as well. And actually, I'll be your mentor as well for the course of this 2024 to 2025. Hopefully, I can accommodate by in the near future, but more or less, yeah. So what I'm gonna tackle is on technically not only introduction to cybersecurity, but as well as the different terms that you might hear that is being widely used on cybersecurity aspects. So, yeah. So here's the agenda of the session that we'll be tackling. So here's the thing. If you have any questions after the session itself, you can type it on chat or you can raise your hand so that I can entertain your questions later. Hope that makes sense. Thank you. So here are the agendas of the talk. So of course, first, we need to I'll be discussing what cybersecurity is, and then second will be why cybersecurity is very important, especially we're now on the technology age where everything is been accessible through mobile and stuff. So third will be what are the threat actors, who are they, what they do, and such. And why is it that these threat actors are really harmful, especially when you are working on clients that have sensitive data. So of course, as we discuss the threat actors, we will also discuss what are the different types of threat actors and different kinds of cyber attacks, more or less the common cyber attacks has been uh, done by these threat actors. So I'll be also discussing some fundamentals as well, like the foundations one and the key terms that you might encounter in cybersecurity as you go along with it at the same time on the career when you work as a cybersecurity practitioner. So keep in mind there will be other parts. Actually, there will be another session for the risk, vulnerability, the incident response, and everything. Because condensing things in an hour is not that much good, and I don't want everyone to have information over there. So the last part of the agenda will be I'll be showing you the cybersecurity domains that you can explore for career advancements that in case you will pursue cybersecurity in the near future, in which I hope you will. So without further ado, guys, uh let's start the session for this evening. So basically what cybersecurity is, why is it essential, and why cybersecurity exists up to date. Basically, cybersecurity is actually an application wherein application of the technologies that we use, processes that we're going to do, and that will be used on a certain organizations or institutions, and also it controls everything that serves to protect the systems, primarily systems that uh, What do I mean by system is the servers, the workstations, applications, and everything. Everything that has basically that's what system is. Basically. And then networks, you also protect the networks from the cyber attacks. Programs as well and devices and data from cyber attacks. Why? Why do we need to do that? Because in the in the technological age, primarily starting a few years back, cyber attacks has been rampant, especially uh, years 2017 onwards. This is where everything goes crazy. Like there are so many ransomwares that's been attacked, that's been infected the different countries, primarily U.S. and European countries. So that's why cybersecurity. This is why cybersecurity exists to protect those data. And also, what is the main goal of the cybersecurity itself? Technically, it aims to basically reduce everything, any risk of cyber attacks and breaches that can happen not only in institutions but also organizations, and primarily, of course, as this we are also reducing the risk of having cyber attacks in those two uh two locations like the institutions and organizations. We also protect the we also protect everything beyond within that institution or organization that has information that is really sensitive, that also serve as information that's been transferred from one point to another, again, to all unauthorized exploitations of systems, networks, and technologies. Basically, uh, the reason why cybersecurity also exists as well, because we want to make sure that all of our data being transferred or data being stored in our systems, and data being transferred to the networks and through technologies that we use, we want to make sure that it's being protected properly by 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 people like us, cybersecurity practitioners, technically. And you guys, you have a and you guys actually is a good thing that as early as right now, even though doesn't matter if you're freshman or senior or whatever, as long as cybersecurity must be tackled at this point, because we want to make sure that we we want to make sure that everyone will be so-called raised into we will raise students who are well not only well versed in cybersecurity in theoretical but also on the application side of cybersecurity. So I'll be quoting from Stefan Napo. He said, or this person said, cybersecurity is much more than a matter of IT. Why? This code actually comprises of everything that you really need to cover, especially on the data side. And cybersecurity also covers everything that you need to cover on in not only on the IT stuff but also almost everything, including primarily on transmission of data, downloading of data from one point to another, and storing data to different systems. So next will be why why cybersecurity is really important, especially of technology age. Why is it really important? Basically, I'll just summarize this. Why cybersecurity is important? because cybersecurity it ensures that every single storage, control access, and every system that you are managing is secured. Why? Because we don't want the an authorization of access from different people outside or can be internal that can that can hold of data that we are storing of, especially if the company has sensitive information or even in PUP, you're handling sensitive information that's been given to you by the school, you need to make sure that it's been safeguarded properly. At the same time, while doing that, you also prevent the the unauthorized processing, transfer, or deletion of data, whether it's being stored on a secured storage or it's been transferred live from one point to another. It could be from machine to peer, machine to machine, or machine to cloud or peer to cloud. That's why cybersecurity is important as well. So cybersecurity technically safeguards everything, like every sensitive data. Well, actually, all all of sensitive data that has that go na nag-aano siya dito sa confidentiality, integrity, and availability of the information that's been accessed by your end, in which I'll be tackling about this in a later parts. Lastly, this is the most important thing that I want to impart to all of the students here who's been listening right now. This provides cybersecurity technically provides awareness for all of us individuals on how are we going to protect ourselves, primarily our the sensitive information that we have against those attackers who are going to who are, who are gonna attempt to access those information, and that information can be used into criminal practices. Now, I hope that everyone will be so-called more will be able to understand bits by bits why cybersecurity is really important. And cybersecurity, I would say, is one of the hardest fields that that's been would say pinakamahirap na field na kailangan pasukin in IT. Why? You have to understand everything been revolving on the data primarily. And also you need to be aware yourself on how are you going to protect those data that's been entrusted to you. Because by doing such, you'll be able to know when do you need to safeguard those data. Well, technically, you need to safeguard those data most of the all of the time. You need to know when are you going to delete the said sensitive data that you have. When are you going to uh, pass it to from one point to another and so on. So I hope that everyone will get why cybersecurity is really important nowadays, and especially we are currently reaching on the technology age where everything has been accessible to internet. So now, obviously, cybersecurity exists. Now, why cybersecurity exists? Basically, because of the threat actors. So if you're familiar with PhilHealth hacking recently, I think it was last year. wherein they were being ransomware by some hackers out there, and the data. I I'm not sure how many data, but I can we can roughly say it's around 300 billion first worth of data being uh no, actually 300 billion worth of data has been uh stolen from the servers on PhilHealth. So basically this is what, and these are being made by the attackers or threat actors. So basically you might question yourselves, what are the threat actors? Who are they? Why do they attack certain organizations or people, individuals to be exact? So basically, threat actors are the ones who exploit weaknesses not only in computers or systems, they also exploit vulnerabilities or weaknesses on network and even on systems actually. They also do exploitations as well. Now, if you're gonna look at it, these threat actors, they are ones who are exploiting the weaknesses or the vulnerabilities of the computers, networks, and systems that you have. Now, what are they gonna do next? Basically, after they exploit those vulnerabilities on computers, networks, and systems, they are now going to carry out disruptive attacks on certain individuals through social engineering, which is sometimes can be done by phishing, if it on social engineering part. Now, on organizations, there can be ways. It could be either phishing, uh, DDoS, distributed denial of service attacks, malware injections. So there are many ways actually. Now, these threat actors can be a person, a group of people, or an organization that and their goal is to intentionally cause harm not only in the digital sphere but also in infrastructure sphere. Why? Because they want to ransom those data. They want to get the personal information from the certain individual or organization. Now, what if the you might ask, what will happen if the said attackers uh, got the personal data that we have? Well, basically, what happens is they can use it on cybercrime, and most of the people being victimized by identity theft, and most of the time, that's one of the causes. Maybe our sensitive information, such as uh, social security card numbers like UMID, SSS, for those who are working. Even the school ID can be also identified as sensitive data. So that's how that actor that's a more like definition of who are the threat actors. Now, of course, we define what the basics of who the concepts of rather of threat actor. Now you're gonna ask, what are the different types of threat actors? So insiders, primarily this happens on, for example, I'll give an example. For the insider attacks, it's the usually scenario. An ex-employee or ex-student of ex, an ex-employee from a call this from an organization or company that this person used to work on stole some data by injecting some malware scripts, malicious scripts inside their server or any or someone's PC. In case of guys, students, for example, let's say from one of the students of PUP, not I'm not in not specifically for IT or comp sci students or I students, but someone from PUP could be an ex-employee, it could be a former student or what. Went inside to ICTC and that person check nagsaksak ng USB doon to one of the systems in ICTC to get some data, primarily grades, credentials of the administrator staff. Then after that, once the credentials has been harvested, they can now shut down the system. They can make the SIS slow down. Like if you're gonna try to enroll, I don't know if you still experience the when you're gonna try to enroll your subject using SIS, it takes longer for their website to respond. That's the same thing that the traders will do. So when those attackers uh, successfully conducted their attack, there could be damages, especially especially if that attacker wasn't able to be traced by certain individuals on the ICTC people. So that's how insider attack works. Outsiders, well, basically, uh, that could under that could be under activists, but more like they just so basically outsiders more like kind of complex one, but yeah, it's also it has also the same behavior as insiders, more like the one who's conducting the attack are the external ones. Now, the third part will be the non-political, primarily business competitors and cyber criminals. So, usually in an organization that you are working with, sometimes companies will hire some black hat, black hat hackers to destroy the business of their competitors by infiltrating the systems, those the system of the weakness of the systems that their competitor is using, and by exploiting those, they were able to get hold of their servers, important servers, in which in the long run, in which those attackers they were able to attack, infiltrate primarily the server of the, let's just say, database server. And that moment, they were able to get harvest the data inside that inside that database, and then they were able to delete those data. That's how usually business competitor related attacks been done. Cyber criminals primarily been applicable to mostly government. If you're familiar with website defacement activities that you might see in Facebook or news any news you're aware of, That's what cyber criminals do. Sometimes they they deface websites for fun. Sometimes they deface websites for money or so extortions. But yeah, that's how criminals work. Now, on the fourth part is the political side. It's kind of complicated part, but the goal on the political side would be they have somewhat motivation to conduct those kind of attacks. Primarily, the terrorists, nation state sponsored attackers. One of the best example of nation state sponsored attackers: North Korea, Russia, China. These are three primary. Now, if we say nation state sponsored, well, basically from the word nation state, meaning this, they're being sponsored. Hackers or attackers, they're being funded by the government to destroy, to infiltrate, or exploit any vulnerability from their enemy countries. For case on point, Ukraine, Ukraine war. Uh, Russia has been attacking Ukraine not only in military force but also in cyber war. And both of these countries hired primarily black hat hackers or gray to attack each other by exploiting vulnerabilities through malware injection, DDoS, ransomware. Well, technically, ransomware is a common thing in on the nation state. And sometimes terrorists also does that. Does that kind of thing that nation state sponsor does. Lastly, hacktivists. Well, hacktivists are more like they're more like they want to hack on a specific website because they want to fight for something. And if you're familiar with some websites who've been defaced because of fraud elections, primarily most of the time Comelec, or they're being hacked because of the you know common the common election called this common election dilemma, which is uh, such as yung pagano sa balota, yung changing ng data while in transmission, or anything or any data manipulation inside those ballots, or any kind of or any kind of manipulation that can cause harmful effects other people. Information gatherers more likely, I would identify them as reconnaissance. They're doing reconnaissance for to conduct to make sure that they will plan on how they're gonna attack certain individual or organization that has more like uh multiple sensitive data that they can sell to black market or dark web, primarily for bitcoins or cryptocurrencies. Lastly, last part on the different kinds of threat actors, technology, primarily botnet. Well, AI is also part of this. Basically, botnet, what it does is that there are certain machines that will be converted into bots. Then these bots will be commanded by some. Usually, botnet attacks are inter, uh, being supervised by human interactions, and that part, that botnet attacks can also cause cause harmful effects to not only machines but also to systems that certain individual or organization has. And that point, most likely they can cause downtime if they were able to penetrate the said systems, and that botnet will were able to make sure that it, this machine or system will not function properly. Okay. Before I proceed for the next topics, do you have any questions, guys, on what I have discussed before? I can see the chats right now, but yeah, if none, so I'll proceed on the next one. So now, since we've discussed what what are the kinds of threat actors, and primarily the main concept of threat actors, what so let's go on into different kinds of cyber attack, more or less the common ones that's been conducted by the said attackers society, primarily in Philippines. So primarily we have three common attacks that's been conducted in the Philippines as of this moment. So the first one will be phishing attacks. Phishing attacks are commonly been done by some spammers or attacker sending an email enticing you to click on something that has rewards, or you could from either you get a reward for something that you thought you participated for, or you you've been enticed to do something because you've been chosen to do stuff like that. And usually at first it looks like legitimate, since the malicious actor or the attacker will send a phishing email to you that looks like legit. But the links, when you hover the links, it goes to the site that's being malicious. Now, the primary goal of phishing attacks is to grab any sensitive information, or not only on the individual, if the is an individual or an organization. So let me give an example for let me give an example. Hold on a moment. Let me check if I can get some phishing email sample emails on my end, so that you'll be able to know what that is. Okay, hold on a sec. Share my screen, entire screen. Look at my spam, 126. Okay, hold on. Okay. Hey, I have some spam here. Example, MetaMask or Substack. Urgent security alert, your fund at immediate risk. Now, basically, they will let you know that blah blah blah, diet, critical warning, blah blah, immediate shows severe. consequences, so on. When in fact, you didn't register to this site. Now, when you hover things here, it will redirect you to something that is really malicious. Wait, okay, wait, hold on. Let me find another link. Or maybe the past links that I have used to have. Okay, good example. This one. Your wallet has been disabled. Sender is MetaMask. Now, here's the thing. I think I cannot click on it because it said with dangerous. Anyway, so yeah, I can send. So this sender is from MetaMask. Now, this one, even though you didn't register on anything that birdeye.com website, this one is an example of enticing you to upgrade on something that you didn't subscribe for. Now I can cover this one because since it's been detected by Gmail, it's malicious. Usually, when you hover to the link, it will redirect you to another website, and then when you redirect it, of course, you might look at it as legitimate website, but when you gave their when you gave your sensitive information to that site, that's not that's well, even if the website is secure, you can still be hacked by the attackers, and you will fill out everything because you thought, oh, okay, it's a legitimate site, but you don't know your sensitive information has been uh the attacker was already got have already your sensitive information, especially if the attacker was asked you to enter your username or password on a certain site, then the attacker will be able to get hold of it and then do something about it. So that's why you need to protect yourselves. And that's how phishing attack works. Malware attacks basically this. Malware attack usually happens when you download someone's oh, before this, can you raise your hands for those who love to download crap games on internet? We count first. Six, seven. Okay, so seven. Oh, that's too many. Eight. Okay, nine. Okay. Well, just to give you you can raise your hands down now. Okay, so I'll give you a story about I'll give you some short story about it. Before, when I'm not into cybersecurity before, I used to download also as well pirated games from the internet. Usually, when you download pirated games on the internet, there's actually malware inside of it. Like so, so there's a malware inside of that side of the said crack game. So you might be confused, and that malware can cause harm, really very harm to your computers, especially if the computer that you're using is not yours. It's like it's your parents' computer, it's your parents' laptop, or it's your parents' tablet. But now, here's the thing. So, you might get confused, or you might ask, "Sir, what is malware? I don't know what malware is." I don't know how malware infects the machines. Well, basically, this is what malware does. Malware is basically are two words, malicious software. Basically, what malware does is this. Once you've installed a certain application that's been modified, primarily been cracked, when you install that application with the cracked software or so, or pirated software, the malware has been also installed inside that application. And then, of course, you've installed some games, you've been enjoying playing games without knowing the malware inside that computer that you've also installed have some, what you call this, been actively doing something on the background. And then that malware starts to infect the computers such that that malware will be able to change how it's normally function, destroy specific data that can be traced of conducting malicious attacks, which which is applicable to logs, or it also spies on the user or network traffic, primarily if you're browsing something out there while playing games. The malware will now so-called communicate to the external server and then record and then spy on every single activity that you do on that time. Now, of course, malware has also capability to harvest data inside your computer through sessions, browser sessions, or password managers. If you save password managers, that's also what. Even though ideal password managers are ideal to save and store passwords that you commonly use over the internet. Once it's been infected, once your computer has been infected by the malware, you cannot use it anymore. Most of the time, you cannot use your computer because it's been infected, and the function you cannot function things properly or so. Now, when you try to do something on your computer that's been infested by the malware, obviously you cannot do anything. Sometimes it might sometimes it encrypts your data or it destroys your boot sector system. That's in the case of ransomwares. Or it also overrides your data inside your machine, which what virus does, and do some backdoor communications from the machine going to server command and control center of the malware, which has been done by Trojan most of the time, and other malware related attacks. So last will be on the different kind of cyber attacks in common actually kinds of cyber attacks is denial of service attacks or distributed denial of service attacks. Now, what it does is this. In the case of denial of service attack, it is only been done by sending spoof packets of data or sending spoof sending spoof or spamming data in order for that machine or specific application to be overwhelm its resources to the point that they weren't able to reply properly to the request of the legitimate users because of that's what happened. what's happening inside their server. It's been attacked by DOS or DDoS. On the DDoS side, it's been usually done through botnets. So that's why you need to prevent that thing happening when DDoS has been attacked. Okay. So now we are now on fundamental side, where I'll be discussing some reminders on how you really get started in cybersecurity. Right. So this is my recommendation for if all of you will actually want to have a deeper foundation of thing in cybersecurity. One and first definitely you need to do this. It's actually not actually a requirement, but an essential thing that you need to go through in cybersecurity. Primarily networking concepts or networks. So you need to be familiar with the network side because most of the time because cybersecurity when dealing in cybersecurity, network is one of the things that being looked at, especially if you are reading some packets from one point from certain user been accessing some sites when you're investigating. Operating systems, especially I'll emphasize the command line interface part or the CLI. This is my phone system. If and only if you're gonna create scripts, you need to be you need to be more well versed on the CLI side because CLI will be your friend when you're going to test your scripts. Third would be security skills and knowledge concepts. Usually, you can get that on internet. You can get more information or any learning materials related to cybersecurity. The last two, actually, it can be done in a parallel setting or it can be done on the later part. Well, on the cloud skills and knowledge concepts of it, most of the time you will be able to learn that when you are already in the corporate setting that since hosting something on the cloud actually is good. So most of the time companies will allow you to do some work around things with promotion. Programming skills and knowledge, basically if you know at least one programming language that has scripting capability, primarily Python, C, you're good at least. Because on the programming side, if you're gonna go on forensics and incident response, you'll be needing to read a bunch of executable codes that has actually that's actually been analyzed by the incident responders and forensics team when they want to dissect the program. Hopefully, you're able to understand the context of the foundations of it. Now, let's go on the key terms that you might be hearing in cybersecurity. Asset, primarily, it can be any data, device, or any other components of the environment that basically supports information related activities. So that's what asset is. Now, I mentioned earlier the word sensitive data or personal information. This is where PI comes in. Personal identifiable information basically it means that it's any information that can relate, and that information can relate to an identifiable person. That's why it's being called personal identifier. So what you're gonna ask, what are those personal identifiable information? If you're working currently, if we're working on a corporate, SSS, SSSID, TIN ID, PIR, Pag-ibig ID, passport ID. Oh no, actually passport is actually common. One of the examples of PIR, passport. But if you're working, for data that I've mentioned, it's already considered as PII. That's why, guys, I want to remind everyone, do not post something on your social media that has anything that can identify you as a person. Especially if you have if what you're gonna post contains any ID numbers that can identify you current, so that the attackers won't be able to get hold of your attacks. Especially, usually this happens when there's actually an attack concerning PIIs. Could be ransomware or anything. Activating that can be also be done to get the PIIs of specific users. Now, let's go on the CIA triad, the confidentiality, integrity, availability. I'll add one, which is non-repudiation. So let me define uh what this the three of it the CIA triad means. On the confidentiality side, it actually ensures that any data, any sensitive data that you're handling, or any data that that's been classified as as confidential, is remaining kept remains secret and or private, because we don't want that. So because if we identify that information as confident, meaning to say you don't want that information to spread on a specific other people that can have effects of something that can be harmful, that can have harmful effects most of the time to the person that uh, to the person or individual who's been identified on the said data. Integrity, basically, it also ensures that it's making sure actually that your data is actually trustworthy and not tampered. Why? Because once the data is being tampered by certain individuals who, I would say, carelessly modified some data, then the integrity of the data is already in question, because there are some data has been modified by someone uh, who's transferring data from one place to another. So I'll give an example on the integrity part. Let's say, for example, GDSC, PUP leads transferred sent a document that contains a sensitive information that cannot be disclosed in public, and that information was being and the attacker was able to sniff that document or something through someone from the GDS who left their machine unlocked, and the attacker was able to get hold of those data. Now, the attacker, since the attacker has got hold of the data, the attacker will now modify the data, which also questions the integrity of the data being stored there. Next is availability. Well, since every data has been kept confidential and it maintains also its integrity from being uh, being subject in question, availability corresponds to something that's been available to certain people that are only authorized to see those data that's been handled by someone. So last part is the non-repudiation. It's more like on the accountability side of the CIA trial. Basically, the non-repudiation uh in the non-repudiation part, you cannot you cannot accuse, falsely deny anything that was created, altered, observed, or transmitted data from someone going to other person, especially if you're involved on the data breach. You cannot deny most of the time, unless otherwise you're not involved on that on the data that's being attached. We go to the next part. Authentication basically is an act on proving that the user uh, is that this user being authenticated to to access on the certain websites or specific data that you're gonna handle on. Encryption basically is actually a process of encoding information from plain text. Plain text is like this one that you're seeing right now. That's being called plain text. From encoding information from plain text going to something that's been uh encoded primarily on on the part of uh primarily consists of alphanumeric characters and subsymbols to ensure that the said data is being safe and not being encrypted so easily. Well, hashing is one of the main uh say main source or main uh functions of a certain of a certain data that you want to encode to something encrypted. So I'll jump to the last part, which is cybersecurity domains. So I'll partly explain what are the cybersecurity domains that we have at this moment. So we're gonna look at here. I hope that everyone can see. This is where we at right now. Here, the user education. So right now, This session is already considered as a training. Like you're being trained, familiarize the concepts of cybersecurity and such. So and then you will be conducted on security awareness. I don't know, and when will I be able to do that? But this will be the plan as well. And as far as I know, the coming months we will have tabletop exercises for cybersecurity, so that all of you will be able to familiarize. So on the part of education, so more or less we'll be having cybersecurity tabletop exercises for everyone. Hopefully, it will happen. So this what no this we have different domains on cybersecurity primarily. So we have user education, which is applicable for everyone, especially students, and then security operations. This is where I am currently working on, and we will primarily discuss on the incident response because you know you will need to be familiar with this. So we will tackle this part soon. Now, on the career development, usually this happens when you want to further enhance your career in cybersecurity and such. And then physical security, more or less, you need to secure things that are being more like the on-prem thing, like your servers, machines, networks. That's part of physical security. Primarily, this one, the IoT. Security architecture, this is where everything more like the platforms that you need to be familiarize based on the categories here, like on the identity management, access controls, security engineering, cloud sec, container sec, endpoint security. This will be under security architecture. Application security is where CI/CD integration comes in, and SSDLC, yeah, this where it comes in. You might encounter this application security on the part call this when you uh when you start developing all parts. Risk assessment is more like tackles on the risk that the organization or individual might have when there are certain vulnerabilities encountered. And this risk management only covers on the system side, systems, infra, and people. Even uh, enterprise risk is more like covers the organization one, like audit policies, PCP or business continuity program. On the PCP part, just to give everybody's context, PCP is widely used by the organizations to make sure if there anything happens on your office, like for example, there's an earthquake happened in the office and then you cannot work because the building was destroyed, you need to at least have a disaster recovery site or PCP PCP site where you can still continue to work on. Governance, more likely this is where policies comes in, like PCI is for finance, like financial stuff. IPA is medical. GDPR is more like on the policies of the central government. That also includes Data Privacy Act, which is probably sooner or later when you get into work or when you get into cybersecurity more, you'll be familiarized on. CPA, in which I would encourage everyone on this call to actually browse what data privacy is. Data Privacy Act of 2012, because it's one of the important things in this bill. Lastly, on the cybersecurity domain is threat intelligence. So basically, you're going to be futuristic here. Like you have to predict what are the attacks that's been call this has been used for conducting exploits lately on corporations or individuals. So yeah, I think this is all for the first part of introduction to cybersecurity. I hope that everyone will was able to learn on what you call this what we're able to learn about cybersecurity, at least on the bits and pieces of it. Hopefully, I'll be able to discuss more on how are we going to deal with cybersecurity cyber attacks through incident response and other parts of the cybersecurity that that helps you deeper that helps you deeper understand what cybersecurity is. So yeah, thank you for everyone joining this call, especially for the students and cadets, students slash cadets who actively participating here. I hope that even if gabi na right now, I still believe na may natutunan kayo. Kung may mga questions kayo, you can type it on chat and i-relay nyo kay Shun and William. So take it away.